had the heater. And we slept in the back room where there was no heat. And in our room, when Dad built the house, or had it built, I don't know who built it, but it was a fine home. And it was left in the corner across from our bed. There was a square hole, about as big as one of them
ceiling tile, yeah.
And she one night she smelled smoke, and she jumped out of the bed and she ran into the living room. Said, "Henry, get out of that bed." Said, "The house is on fire." Dad jumped up, and what had happened, the pipes and run up through the ceiling, through the attic, at the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And someplace in the attic, a red stovepipe was ran off. When he went to bed, he put too much coal in.
Yeah.
And it got caught a fire and something up in the attic, and was a smolder, just smolder.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't a flame or nothing,
no.
But it was just.
And
it would have been though.
I remember Dad come in. He brought his ladder, had a ladder, and he climbed up through that, and Mom handed him a bucket of water. he put the fire out and come back down, went back to bed.
Well,
so probably saved us.
If she hadn't have smelled that, it liable to have burnt the house down.
Yeah, burnt the house down. He let us in it.
Yeah.
I remember that time it come that flood over frozen, over in Breathitt County. See, we was joining up to Breathitt County.
Yeah.
Close neighbor. And just a couple of hills, and you'd be in Breathitt County. And they come a flash flood. They drowned about 60 people over Breathitt. And washed away barns and houses and stores and killed that many people. And I remember that night they had the flash flood. We got part of it in Rowe because we was that close to Breathitt.
Yeah.
And it rained all night, just poured over that metal roof. And Ma got up. She'd always up and looking out the window, and she seen the water was up in the yard. Creek, the Rowan Creek was up in the yard. It was flooding, and you could hear big logs bumping one another.
Yeah.
As they washed down, and she run in there and Henry, get up out of that bed. We're gonna get washed away. We got a flood out there. Said the water's already under the house. Now that got Dad's opinion. That got his notice. It was a bad flood. And you could hear them logs bumping one another. Awful as low as you ever heard. And of course that was, it didn't do a lot of damage in Earth.
Yeah.
But just a couple of mountains over, it killed a lot of people and a lot of damage. So Grandma saved us again. Poor thing, she was so timid.
Yeah.
She was afraid of anything. Scared her, and she protected me, probably with her life if she had to.
Yeah.
I remember we was out in the garden. She caught me a June bug and tied a thread around his leg and to my finger. And that June bug would fly back and forth where he had, as long as that string was.
Yeah.
And she was hoeing corn, or hoeing vegetables or something in the garden. I was sitting there, And she stopped and she said, "What is that noise?" And about that time, a little old airplane come over the point, come over the hill, just very moving slowly, and the motor sounded like a lawnmower. Just a little old plane, really little small thing. And that was a plane back them days.
Probably the first one you ever seen, wasn't it?
Yes. No, yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she grabbed me in my June bug. When Mom and Dad heard that place, there was a big log house sitting on it, about by the well. And Dad tore the house down. Part of it was in the garden, and he left the chimney. They built the chimney out of this creek rock.
Yeah.
And the chimney was still standing. And it had two fireplaces, 1 year and 1 year, but they took the fireplaces, the grates out, so it was open. You could walk between and look up through the chimney.
Through the chimney.
And Ma grabbed me and went over to that chimney as hard as she could run with me in her arm, and got in on that chimney and started over and down and said, "Lord, have mercy, honey, we're going to be destroyed. We're going to be..." That's how timid she was.
Yeah.
"Lord, honey, we're going to be destroyed." And again, I remember we was out there, and they was a building, Highway 7, up Licking River.
Yeah.
There wasn't no roads or nothing back them days. They was a building of the road up Licking River, and they was on the Green Carpenter Point over there where that gap was. There was a dynamite and that making, the gap through there.
Yeah.
Where they come up this side of the mountain through the gap and go down the other side. And we was out in the garden and you could hear them shooting dynamite.
Yeah.
They'd go boom, boom. And Ma said, "Oh, I want you to listen to that, children." She said, "We're at war." We're at war. She didn't know the difference.
No, she didn't.
She didn't know the difference. All she heard was bums are going along. Lord, children, listen to that. We're at war. We're all going to be destroyed.
She didn't like to see you get no whooping either, did she? She didn't like to see you get a whooping, did she?
No, brother. I'd run behind her and rest tail. She always wore one down to the ground and beep around. "Don't you whoop that boy. Don't you whoop him." I probably need you. They'd lay their switch down and walk off.
It was.
I've saved my grandma again.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Them was good old days.
Didn't you say she seen lights in the sky one night?
Oh, yeah, that's another thing she woke up. And it was a northern light.
Yeah.
They was you could see the fingers that looked like fire flashing across the sky. Man, it was the worst looking time you ever saw. And she was up looking out the window, and she see Dad, and she run in and said, Henry, get up, we're end of time. It's the end of time right now. She was scared to death. Dad got up and went outside. I don't know, they probably were scared too, I don't remember.
Yeah. She thought it was the end of time, the Lord was coming back.
She thought the Lord was coming back that day.
I wish I could have known her.
Yeah, she saved us again. Is it still be time?